Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today we are going to learn about English structures, past perfect progressive or continuous and future progressive or continuous. This is the timeline. The first one is past for past activities, present for present activities, past future for activities before a time in the future, and future activities that will happen next in the future. For past activities, we have simple past, past progressive, past perfect, and past perfect progressive or continuous. The first, the second, and the third have been learned before, and the last one, past perfect progressive, is not learned yet. It will be learned in this class with me. And for present, there are simple present, present progressive, present perfect progressive. All of those have already been learned before. Then we come to past future. There are past future progressive, past future perfect progressive. These structures are learned in conditional if. And the last one is future. There are simple future progressive, future perfect progressive. We have already learned about simple future, so at this time perhaps we learn about future progressive, future perfect, and future perfect progressive. These are the materials for us to learn. Okay, the first one, past perfect progressive or continuous. The past perfect progressive emphasizes the duration of an activity that was in progress before another activity or time in the past. Have a look at the example. The police had been looking for the criminal for 2 years before they caught him. Had been looking is in the form of past perfect progressive or continuous. This emphasizes the duration of looking. There are two activities. This is the first activity, which emphasizes the duration, and the second activity, which is in the form of simple past. And the second one, you had been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. Had been waiting is in the form of past perfect progressive, which emphasizes the duration, that is 2 hours. This is the first activity, and the second activity is in the form of simple past. So the first activity happened before past, and it emphasizes on the duration of the activity, that is called as past perfect progressive or continuous. Still about past perfect progressive or continuous. Using the past perfect continuous before another activity in the past is a good way to show cause and effect. When you want to show cause effect in the past perfect continuous may help you to express your words in saying that the first activity is the cause of the second activity in the past. Have a look at the example. When Judy got home, her hair was still wet because she had been swimming. This one is the first activity, and then this one is the second activity. The first activity, of course, comes first, and it becomes the cause of the second activity in the past. Sam gained weight because he had been overeating. There are two activities. This one is the first activity, which comes first, of course, and it becomes the cause of the second activity. Same kind, wait is in the form of simple past, and for the first activity is in the form of past perfect progressive or continuous. The relationship between the first and the second is the first one is the cause of the second activity. Structures. For affirmative, subject plus had plus been plus verb ing plus object or complement. Example, you had been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. This is for affirmative. And for negative, subject plus had plus not. Put not after auxiliary had. And then plus been plus verb ing plus object or complement for negative sentences. Example, you had not been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. The next one is about yes, no question. Why yes, no question? Because in some cases, you can answer yes. In some other cases, you can answer no. That's why it is called as yes, no question. How to make yes, no question? Please put auxiliary had in the beginning of the sentence and then plus subject plus been plus verb ing plus object or complement, and don't forget to put a question mark at the end of the sentence. Example, had you been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived? And question mark. How about WH question? Just put WH question word before auxiliary had. Just the same between yes no question and WH question. The difference is only in WH question, you must have WH question word before auxiliary had. Example, when had you been waiting there for more than 2 hours? Okay, the next. Okay, we have already learned about past perfect, progressive, or continuous, so I give a tick for this kind of structure. We come to the next structure. Future progressive or continuous. The future progressive or continuous expresses an activity that will be in progress at a time in the future. Example, Gracia, I will begin to study at 7. I will be studying when you come. So when you come, I will still be studying. Can you imagine that? So there are two activities, the first and the second activity. The first, studying. The second, coming. The studying activity comes first, and while the activity is still happening, someone comes. So when someone comes, the activity of studying is still happening. Okay, then the next. The future progressive or continuous indicates that a longer action in the future will be interrupted by a shorter action in the future. Example, I will be watching TV when she arrives tonight. There are two activities. I will be watching, the first one, and she arrives tonight. This is the second. The first is watching, the second is arriving. The activity of watching is a longer activity which is interrupted by the second activity. When the activity of watching TV is still happening, someone arrives tonight. So not now, but tonight. The second example, I am going to be waiting for you when her bus arrives. There are two activities, the first and the second. The first is I am going to be waiting for you. The second one, her bus arrives. The first activity, or the activity of waiting, is the longer action which is interrupted by the second activity, that is arriving of her bus. Arriving of her bus is a shorter activity, while waiting is a longer activity. In addition to using short action as interruptions, you can also use a specific time as an interruption. At midnight tonight, we will still be driving through the desert. Midnight tonight is A specific time used as an interruption to a longer action. Which one is the longer action? Driving. So before midnight, we will drive through the desert, and at midnight, we will still be driving through the desert. So driving is a longer activity which is interrupted by a specific time at midnight tonight. Tonight at 6 p.m., I am going to be eating dinner. The specific time is tonight at 6 p.m. This interrupts the longer action. I am going to be eating dinner. Before tonight at 6 p.m., I'm going to eat dinner. At tonight at 6 p.m., I am going to be still eating dinner. So the longer action is interrupted by a specific time in the future. Tonight at 6 p.m. Sometimes there is little difference between the future progressive and the simple future, especially when the future event will occur at an indefinite time in the future. Have a look at the example. Don't get impatient, she will be coming soon. Don't get impatient, she will come soon. Between she will be coming and she will come have a little difference. When those two tell us about something that will occur at an indefinite time in the future. Those two are the same. Remember, no future in time clauses. Like all future tenses, the future continuous cannot be used in clauses beginning with time expressions such as when, while, before, after, by the time, as soon as, if, unless, etc. Instead of future continuous, present continuous is used. Example, Gracia, while I am finishing my homework, she is going to make dinner. After while, we cannot use any will and be going to, meaning continuous. Instead of using will or be going to, present continuous or simple present is preferred. This too, of course, happens in the future, not in the present. The main clause is talking about something that happens in the future. Even though the time clause is in the form of simple present, the activity also happens in the future. Non-continuous or stative verbs cannot be used in any continuous tense. Example, Gracia, Jane will be being at my house when you arrive. It is not correct because stative verbs, be is considered as a stative verb, cannot be used in any continuous tense. The second one is the correct one. Jane will be at my house when you arrive. But the first one is non-correct. The second one is the correct one. Even though the first activity is the longer activity, which is interrupted by the second activity, but because be is a stative verb, be cannot be used in the form of continuous. Structures will, subject will plus be plus present participle. Present participle is verb ing plus object or complement for affirmative. Example, you will be waiting for her when her plane arrives tonight. For negative, subject will plus not, put not after will, and plus be plus verb ing plus object or complement. Example, you will not be waiting for her when her plane arrives tonight. And for yes no question, will plus subject plus be plus verb ing plus object or complement. Example, will you be waiting for her when her plane arrives tonight? What about WH question? Just put WH question word before yes no question. Between those two are almost the same. The difference lays on WH question word, which is placed before modal will. WH question word plus will plus subject plus be plus verb ing plus object or complement. And don't forget to give a question mark. When will you be waiting for her? And now we come to be going to. Subject plus be, M is R, and plus going to be plus present participle of verb ing plus object or complement. I am going to be eating breakfast at the canteen. Subject plus to be am is are plus not plus going to be plus verb ing plus object or complement for negative. I am not going to be eating breakfast at the canteen. For yes no question, to be am is are is placed in the beginning of a sentence plus subject plus going to be plus verb ing plus object or complement. Example, are you going to be eating breakfast at the canteen? For WH question, place WH question word before to be am is are, subject going to be verb ing plus object or complement. Where are you going to be eating breakfast? Between yes no question and WH question are almost the same. The difference lies in the WH question word. WH question word is placed before to be, before yes no question. Okay, we have already learned about future progressive continuous, and that's it for today's material. Thank you for your attention. Keep safe and healthy at home. Wait for the next video. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.